Stampers, Meg from LovenStamps, and Peace and Joy is our stamp set for this card. It is a DSP card base which focuses on word art. And DSP card base, if you're not familiar with it, is when you take designer series paper and you use it as the actual card itself. I love making these. They're a great way to show off those gorgeous designer series papers that you know you want to use. And they're really efficient because you're gonna cut your designer series paper to 4 inches tall. So either side here, 4 inches tall by 12 inches wide. So each page of designer series paper gets you 3 card bases, all right? So let's get stamping here and I will give you some tips. All right. So first thing I'm going to do is pull in my paper trimmer. So like I said, this is 4 by 12. And what I want to do is decide kind of what I want to be my front of my card. I think I'm going to make this the front of my card. Now, if your pattern has a direction like the cute dogs from Playful Pets, then you don't get to choose. You have the up that's the up on your pattern. But I'm going to move my cutting blade out of the way and I'm going to score this at 5.5 inches. Okay. Which leaves me a 6.5 inch piece on the front. And then I'm gonna score 1 inch here. And I love that my trimmer lets me measure on both sides of the cutting, the business area. And I'm gonna score this at 1 inch from the end here. So that gives me a little tab that I can flip back just like that and fold here. And there, voila, we have our card base, okay? All right, so next we have some pieces that we have die cut, and these are the dies that coordinate with the Peace and Joy stamp set. And you can see that there are, for each of the 3 words, we have joy, peace, and bright. There are 3 different size cutting elements. And so these are the tiny ones, the little scripty ones that I've cut because they match perfectly with the words, all right? I love it when the stamps and the dies kind of go together. So we're going to, let's go ahead and get our card front here settled and then I'll show you where we're gonna stick these. Now, I'm gonna use my Stampin' Seal Plus to go ahead and adhere this because I want to have a really nice bond. I don't want my edge to flip up. And so what I'm gonna do now is I am doing that here on the right edge of my designer series paper. And I'm gonna bring that kind of down and trap my layer of balmy blue glimmer paper underneath, okay? Perfect, so that's gonna stay stuck. And then I'm going to go ahead and add another layer of the Seal Plus and adhere that down flat. And what that does for us is it really stabilizes the front of our DSP card base. The way we're gonna stabilize the inside is by going ahead and adding a full layer of Whisper White, and I've used Whisper White thick cardstock because that sort of gives us the biggest bang for our stabilizing-ness here. All right, so let's get back to the front of our card. We have the die cut from Balmy Blue cardstock, Peace and Joy, and I have my coordinating stamps here. So I'm going to take my piece first because it's going to go at the top. And for something like this where I have a lot of different things going on, I really like to kind of get my main image first, my peace and my joy, and then I'll put the accessories and the little branches and stuff around the edges. So I'm going to stamp peace. All right, and then I'm going to add the joy, and then I will put the and in between. Peace and joy. And then I have this little tiny and word, which I'll ink up here in the corner and go ahead and stamp those, okay? So now we have our message kind of centered, and then we're gonna have room for our last greeting down here at the bottom. And I've got another little tiny strip of designer series paper, and I'm gonna use this side. I think on my sample, I use the other, well, okay, well, if you stamp crooked, then you flip it over and stamp on the other side. So on my sample, I think I use the other side. Let's see. Okay, I got to get this straight. There we go. Sorry. Okay, stamping straight is a little tricky when you're kind of an awkward angle here. Okay, so we have our to you and yours, and we have this that's going to fit here with our ribbon. But before we do that, we want to get all of the things that are stamped flat done. And so I have these little greetings, or these little branches, and I think they're still purple from an earlier card. So I'm going to clean those. All right, and then I'm gonna go ahead and stamp some branches on here. So kind of flexible about where they get placed. And then I'm going to center them here with a set of berries. And we'll give them some little berries there. And then maybe I'll put the berries on first for this one and move my branches around to accommodate them. Okay. All right. Now on my card base, I find that there's just a little bit of this purple hint. And so I like to go back with these and go ahead and add just a little hint of purple. So I'm gonna just clean these off real fast with my chamois. By the way, this is clean. It just gets a little stained over time, but man, does it suck the ink off of your stamps. So you can see how clean that is right away. Now, I don't really want a full strength Highland Heather on there, so I'm gonna stamp once on my scratch paper and then come back and add that. So it gives me just a nice hint of purple without being like overpowering, okay? So there we kind of have that subtle purple that matches the purple in the background there, okay? All right, so now we can go ahead and add our ribbon. And I'm gonna put just a strip of, see there's our little background mistake. You don't have to tell anybody about that. I'm just gonna put some Seal Plus right across the back and then center this ribbon here on that piece of paper, that piece of DSP. There's nothing that says you have to stamp always on Whisper White cardstock. You can use your Designer Series paper as a great stamping surface. So I'll grab a couple of dimensionals and pop these on the back here. And then I'm going to slide this on towards the bottom here. And there we go. You can also use an edge strip from your Stampin' Dimensionals, and that will help to strengthen sort of the front of the card just a little bit to make it a little bit sturdier so that it has some oomph, some heft to it when you open it. And then I'm gonna get my Peace and Joy here, and I'm gonna attach them with a multi-purpose liquid glue, which I love. And my rule of thumb for using this glue, because you don't want too much, you don't want it to squish out, my rule of thumb is that if you can see it, then it is enough. Okay, so you can see how little I put on there, but I'm going to position this so that it is down and to the right of my words. And you see how perfect that is? So now, oops. Well, it's perfect if you place it there. Now my words have just a really pretty shadow. So it's almost like doing block letters where you have a block letter with a shadow around the edges and stuff. So really kind of a fun technique for this. So I'm gonna go ahead and add my multi-purpose liquid glue to Peace. And we'll go ahead and add this to the front. Okay, and then while this is drying, get that on there. Okay, while this is drying, because it's not an instant grab, it makes sense to just put an extra block right there on top. And then I'm going to come back here with my branches and add some kind of decoration-y pieces here for the inside of our card. And we'll give this a little piece of berries there and some berries there. Okay, now this is going to be sort of a construction layer, right? Because it's a DSP card base, so I like to just go ahead and use my Stampin' Seal Plus, which means that it's going to be just a nice strong adhesive bond in there. And go ahead and attach this inside. All right. Now always smush from the back side, right? You don't want to smear your ink or get your glue spread. All right, so there's a nice card to finish it off. I'm going to add some of the blue adhesive backed rhinestones or blue adhesive backed gems, which I love. And I like, come off my fingernail. I got glue on my fingers. I like to do groups of 3 for this kind of thing because it is, it doesn't distract and it doesn't require extra balance. It helps to kind of focus the centerpiece of your card there. So, all right, so there is a really simple DSP card base using the Peace and Joy stamp set and the coordinating Joy dies to put those pieces together. All right, other cards that I'm sharing this month on video tutorial and in my LovenStamps tutorials, monthly tutorials, are the Bright card, the Bright Word Art card, the Peace Gatefold card, and this fun Joy Splatter card. So Lots of different ways to use the word art elements that are included in the stamp set and die bundle. And of course, this is almost like a mini class to go, because everything that you need to make these cards is used for all of the cards. So you don't have to buy a whole set of supplies for this and a whole set of supplies for this and different supplies for this. They all use the same set of supplies. So it's a really efficient way to know that you're going to use what you've got. All right. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions, and I look forward to sharing more cards with you soon. Happy stamping.